So here. Okay. So this is another attempt for the recording. The 22nd April, MicroProfile echo. Okay. So yeah. So now Bohic is here. So Bohic, are you working on the PRs to move small array -LLM to the launching 4G project?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So far we all stable. I think everything is to the latest version of LangChain. And yeah, it's kind of similar to small array LLM, but except for renaming. And then there was a discussion. Now there's a discussion on a Jakarta EE group Slack channel to rename the project to LangChain to JCG CDI.
No, I don't think we will rename it again for now. We just like keep going, and then we will talk about kind of when we ready to do the release. Otherwise, we keep on just talking about repo names. Just carry on with the PRs, and then once we get there, and then once we have the content, things will be much clearer about with all the names and etc. I suggest go ahead to do use the gap we agreed like 2 weeks ago, and then to go from there.
No,
And
that's
then
done.
oh, that's done. So did
Yeah.
you create I have not seen the PRs.
No, we
Can
not
you
merge.
create a PR then? Can you create a
To,
PR on the launching 4G project, and then we can all review from there?
wait, with the GAV that we agreed on the other time, or
Yeah, with the Gav agreed on the 8th April. Oh no, on the on the 15th. Oh
okay,
no, what's the 10th time? Oh no, on the 8th. We agreed on Gab on the 8th in the minutes. Let me share so you can see. Share. Okay. So also I saw the Clement put the message, basically the dependency, launching 4G dependency on the Lombok was removed. So that's good news.
yeah, we've removed Lombok on our side as completely, so we don't have Lombok at
Okay.
all.
Oh,
Anyway,
that's
it breaks on JDK 24, so I decided to take it out.
oh, I see. Okay. Okay, so that's good. And also is kind of the, let me see, yeah, also
The
is a basic, yeah,
things
go
that you
ahead.
might need to change is like the contributions, like the markdown files, like the security contributions and whatever. We just need to apply what LangChain has. Then instead of the one that Smorai has already on the repo.
Yep. Security contribution.md, or everything will need to use the LangChain for J1. So the good news is that there is no security.md yet. So I need to work with Metro to actually create one.
Okay, is it
That's
possible?
good.
Then we can move whatever we have that side, and then we just remove whatever you do, whatever that's unnecessary, and then you guys can add, and then function can add whatever.
Everything which is governance related should be removed, so we can apply then later the LangChain for J1. So that includes contributing.md, security.md, any GitHub issues,
licenses,
types and form and things like that.
Okay.
License you can keep, because anyway it will be the same license.
Okay, that's fine.
Do you have a DTO? DCO? Do you have a DCO right now?
What's the DCO?
Yeah.
It's to avoid having to sign a CLA. So it's a DCO.txt that you have at the root of the project. I can't remember if you don't, that's fine. But yeah, I will add a LangChain for J1 when you're there.
Yeah, so Clement, take this is small right one.
Just
So
before the move, I just want to add that Jan is currently working on providing testing. So what I would like to do is to do a release with those in place, so that when we move to Longchain for J, it's easier to maintain. Because we have then. Yes, Clément?
If you can't release from small while LM something which is in the Longchain4j namespace, so it will need to be before the merge.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I want to have the testing in place, everything in place in small while, where we can easily release and provide. I mean, to have something that is working, and then when we have everything that is okay and working on small while, just moving to Longchain4j, so that when we hit issue, we don't have to manage, or I would say, issues for the migration plus issues due to changes that we made. That's why I wanted to wait a bit before moving to Longchain4j.
Yep. Yes, that would make sense. Yeah.
okay, so also depends on when when this kind of we could basically give a couple weeks. If it's kind of it's a long running and then it's been delayed and then nothing happened, and then we should basically pull the plug and then move over there.
Yeah, I just know that Jan told me this morning that he was working on that, and that he had good results with testing, at least for some of the example. He didn't do it for everyone. He was, but the idea is to be able to have at least some minimal testing available. That would be.
Yeah, sounds good. It's as long as it's actively working on it. But anyway, even though it's move over there and the kind of is still under development, so it's more kind of tests will be added and etc. So it's a kind of that I don't think should basically block the progress. Okay. I said I'm going to stay for a few minutes. Now it's 13 minutes past. Okay, I let you folks discuss the kind of the maybe Clement, you can share like what's next and etc. Is the MCP and some other areas, so we can the direction and etc. I will catch up with the recording afterwards. Remember to take the notes as well, Clement.
Oh,
Put in
great.
the minutes. Here you go. Okay. I will check the notes. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye. All right. So what can I share? So first, I've wrote it in the chat. So Longchain4j 1.0 is expected in May. I can't really tell when. There will be an CR release next week, but yeah, basically, no, it's almost done and will be released in May. So finally, 9 months of delay, but yeah, it's going there. Then we start pulling up a few things we want to do for 2.0, but we probably will need 6 to 9 months to release the 2.0. But yeah, because there is a lot of cleanup and things like this to do. Let me write that. Next week. About MCP, it's kind of tricky.
Yeah, so they've released a newer version of the specification, and they've deprecated SSE. They've got streamable
HTTP.
Yeah, I saw that.
And there is another issue with MCP at the moment, is that the protocol was intended to be very simple or simplistic. A lot of people start trying to play with that and simplified it even further. So the spec is clear that there is an handshake to do at the beginning, exchanging 3 messages: client to server, server to client, client to server. Most of MCP client and server out there, like Cursor and Goose, even Cloud Desktop, do not implement the handshake correctly. So they are kind of forking the MCP protocol already. And then we have this streamable HTTP, which is replacing the SEC transport, which is quite complicated. Interesting, but complicated. I believe we need to, it will be fixed, or everything will go in the right direction, but it might be early to actually try to do something. Or you will do like what we did in Quarkus, implement it very quickly, and now start realizing that we need to redo it completely because, yeah, they change it completely. Authentication is something that has been added in the latest version of the spec. It's a OAuth flow, nothing out of the ordinary, but it makes things slightly more complicated. And one thing in the streamable HTTP, which is important, in MCP, there is 2 levels of negotiation. There is the first level, which is MCP capabilities. The client say what he wants. The servers say, no, the client say what he can do. The server say what he can do. And then the client decide and say, okay, it's fine. So it's not really negotiation. It's really like this. There is also an HTTP level negotiation, especially when you use a streamable HTTP, where the accept header from the client will decide whether it needs to use a simple HTTP post or an SEC. Implementing the 2 level of negotiation is not simple because obviously you have lots of things that can go wrong. So it's actually going to be a lot of fun. Honestly, right now on our side, we don't have an implementation of streamable HTTP. We will start doing progress and meetings probably starting next week. I did a complete review of the specification last week while I was traveling, having a huge mind map with plenty of things that need to be considered. So yeah, right now it's something very interesting, but yeah, the protocol is evolving way too fast to actually do something enterprisey on top of it. It's going there, just like it's take time.
Yeah.
I think that the idea was also on the MCP part, was the discussion that we already had, you and me, about the Quarkus way to define MCP tools using annotation.
Yeah, so the declarative way, and about that, we are trying to see if Anthropic will be interested to actually host this annotation as a standard Java annotations. So they won't be into Quarkus or LangChain4j, but belongs to the official SDK. It's not a given. It's something that will have to be discussed with Anthropic. And by the way, if you have any contact on Anthropic, let us know, because we are trying to ping a few people, but right now it has not been very, very successful. So yeah.
Did you see there was some also post from Ed on the Anthropic MCP GitHub? He mentioned it on Slack.
So Ed, Sébastien Blanc also tried to push a few things. We have kind of a debate with some people from Spring AI, which have pushed an official Java SDK, which is fully Spring, which is fully Spring. There is nothing else. It uses Reactor, it uses plenty of things. We wanted to have something more neutral, but it's got discarded. So now we want to try to say, okay, what about having a declarative way of doing things, like another declarative SDK where we can have the annotations. Now, one issue with these annotations, Emmanuel, you took the same. So if we take the annotations that are defined in Quarkus, it's actually funny in the sense that while it's just plain annotations that does not have any dependency on Quarkus or anything, the behavior and how they are intended to be used is actually CDI specific. So basically, you expect beans to expose that interface, you expect beans to be in that scope and things like that. And that could be a hard sell. So I've already mentioned that to Max. We want to push this idea and Martin, and we will see if we can push it through. But yeah, it's not something that if we put them like they are today, in the spring folks look at that, they say, oh no, we can't implement them. They are CDI specific.
Currently,
So typically there is a add priority, which comes from Jakarta Commons, which is not something that Spring has by default.
maybe I took them a long time ago, so so I don't think I have all of these attributes in my case, and I have extended them to support WASM. So now you can expose WASM binaries through as MCP tools using just those annotations. So that's something that I have also that is different from what Quarkus has.
Yeah.
And one of the I don't know, I don't remember exactly how you it's implemented in Quarkus, but yeah, I try to look if there is a CDI bin for this, but otherwise, like I invoke the constructor, a default constructor, if I can find a CDI bin.
Yeah, so actually for some it's going to work, for some it does not. And yeah, some are really being defined. Well, when you have add priority, it's clearly a bin. I can't remember. I think it's for the content encoders that you need add priority.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't remember. I've been playing more around WASM than and also to support YDC version.
Yeah, another thing is, as I mentioned, MCP has a negotiation pattern or phase. Normally, it should be possible to extract the capabilities of the server directly from the annotation and method signature. That would be great, because otherwise we will have to configure and explain that somehow. So again, this is not something that has been done, and so the set of annotations that we have right now won't be able to handle that case very well. I think it's possible, but yeah, as everything, it's a slightly more tricky when you try to do things.
You mean to define the capabilities directly instead of just providing the list of tools, for example?
Yeah, so basically and that's the funny thing is that right now you have the add tool annotation, and that's mostly the only thing you need. The problem is that the MCP server, which can include multiple tools, will need to define the capabilities for the full server. And this is required during the negotiation. And right now we don't send any capabilities back, or I think we send the basic one. So we will need to look at the tools and say, oh, do you support batching? Do you support receiving batching and things like that? So there are plenty of things like this. I can check the capabilities that have been defined.
Yeah, if you support resume, suspend, notification.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, currently, I'm very basic too. So yes, you can suspend, because I create a feature when I execute, so you can stop it and interrupt.
Yeah. Typically, a server can reject a client if it doesn't provide sampling. Right now, we have no way to do that.
Yeah, it's not even clear on the specification anymore.
It's becoming clearer in the latest version. I won't say it's clear, but It's better than in the first version. So sampling is the client declares the sampling capability. The server might need it, and in that case, be happy with that. And sampling allows the server to actually push back, to send back to the client a prompt that will be evaluated by the model and get the response back. Why it is named sampling, I have no idea, because, but whatever. It's reverse function calling. It's a tools that will invoke a model, but a model hosted by the client, not a model on its own. So yeah, so sampling, additional feature are configuration, process tracking, cancellation, notification, error reporting, logging, and so on. So all these will need to be communicated by the server. And right now so see, it's very, very early days. It's everybody is hype and wants it and so on, but yeah, they are deriving or simplifying the protocol.
Yeah, so it's two parts. I mean, you have to have the client that supports it and the server that supports. Yeah. It's not just. And yeah, also I'm not sure where. I haven't taken a look at Google new agent-to-agent protocol and see if it fits in there.
That's interesting. So the A2A protocol is nothing very outstanding for now. But it needs to be seen in combination of the agent toolkit. I can't remember. Let me check. Agent toolkit SDK. Agent Development Kit, ADK. And if you consider SDK plus A2E, you start seeing the pictures they are doing, and it's way more promising than just A2A on its own. But yeah. Will it be a competitor to Longchain4j? It's probably too early to say, but yeah, it could be something that could compete. What they did is how they assemble or compose their agent is slightly more high level than what Longchain4j is doing. So we probably will need to go back to Longchain4j and see how can we either adopt that approach or provide a higher level of abstraction. Now, my problem with a higher level of abstraction is that they are forgetting a lot of the enterprise features such as tracing, security, and so on. So looks good for demos. Real world is slightly more complicated than demos. So what's the name I said? Agent ADK. I'm probably forgetting things, but yeah. Yeah, anything else? But well, it's already the bottom of the hour, so it's already over. Ooh, that has been the longest co-hosting ever. Any last thoughts or any last question?
No, not from me.
Okay, I should be there next week if.
Well, we need to move to days. I can't do Tuesdays next week. Actually, from next week onwards, Tuesdays is not available. I'm not available.
Yeah, I need to look at the doodle here.
Yeah, your time zones have changed, so it's on 6 o'clock on my side. It's not go off on a Tuesday.
Yeah, our time zone has shifted. Yeah, that's summertime for us. We want to always be like this, but yeah, unfortunately, it's not the
Yeah,
case.
unfortunately for me, it's because of the long Easter. I'm available now, but
Yeah.
other than that,
Why I'm
no.
unable to see what is the link for the doodle? I see two links, poll 1 and poll 2. Which one is?
Both. One is about
Long chain for the MicroProfile account.
I think
there's a
they're
slot
both.
he proposed, and then there is if you can't make it for the slot, he provides different slots.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ed just had trouble getting all that stuff to fit into one doodle, so he had to do 2 doodles.
Great. Okay. Anyway, well, the doodle is for tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, so that looks a little bit suspicious, but okay, I will try to see, and I'm mapping Ed directly.
What doodle? Do not know what doodle you guys are referring to.
Those doodle.
All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Don, do you know if I need to do anything to close the recording, or it's just like going to magically be closed?
I'm not an expert on Zoom, so.
Oh, yeah, it's Zoom. It's not Teams. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm going to close the recording. So for sure, yeah. Stop recording.